Welcome back. In this lecture, we are going to see how to use subqueries in SQL Server. We have a student table and the marks table. For each student, there will be marks in the marks table. So Arun has 70 marks, Anand has 40 marks, and Priya has 30 marks. We have been asked to retrieve the data where Priya got 50 marks. Who all got more marks than Priya? So we have been asked to write a query to retrieve this data. Let's see how do we do it. So we know that Priya got 50 marks. So we want to retrieve the students who got more marks than Priya. For that, we have to join these two tables, student and marks. With the joining condition is student ID. So you're going to do a inner join because all the three rows having total marks. So we're going to do a inner join with that student ID as a joining condition. And then we are going to say where marks, total marks greater than 50. We know that Priya got more than 50. So in the step one, what we are trying to do here is we are going to write a query to join these two tables. So where total marks is greater than 50. Now Priya got 50, that's why we put this. So when we execute this query, we are going to get the output where the student, which student got more marks than Priya. Now, what will be the output we are going to get is Arun has got more marks than Priya, so he got 70 marks. We are going to get this as an output when you execute this query. Ideally, this is a way to write this query, but you don't want to outcode the value, Priya marks value here, because Priya next exam she might get some other marks. You don't want to go back and modify this query. So we have to write another query where dynamically we retrieve the Priya marks and then we compare with the total marks. How do we do that? If we see the down query, if you read that replacing 50, so we are just having the same query here. We just replace 50 with select total marks from marks table where student ID equal to 3. The student ID 3 is nothing but Priya. So what we are trying to say here is I'm going to retrieve from marks table and having the student ID Priya, and then I'm going to use this comparison and then total marks greater than this output. So this output will give you 50, total marks greater than 50. Then you're going to have the select statement. So this is a way to write a query when you have been asked to do kind of comparison based on another table value. So the first thing what we need to understand here is in a subquery, there are two parts to it. One is an outer query and another one is an inner query. What is outer query? Until the condition total marks greater than, then we have this outer query. So this one is an outer query. This outer query depends on the inner query value. So what is the inner query? Inner query nothing but you have a open braces and closed braces, and then you are selecting marks from the marks table where student ID equal to 3 or 2, whatever it is, whichever student you want to compare it. So you can make it as 2 or 3 or any other student ID which you want to compare it. So the inner query starts with the open parenthesis and closed parenthesis and a select statement inside it. So your total marks is compared with this output of this. So that is called inner query. So if you see that subquery, it is enclosed in parenthesis. So inner query can be called as a subquery. It is enclosed in parenthesis. A subquery must be placed on the right side of the comparison operator. So you have a comparison operator greater than or equal to or less than any comparison operator. It should be on the right hand side of it. It should not be the left hand side on it. So subqueries cannot manipulate the results internally. What does it mean is you cannot apply order by class into a subquery. So where can you apply this subquery? You can apply the subquery in a select class, from class, and a where class. So let's summarize it. So what is subquery? So you have two parts in a query. One is an outer query and another one is an inner query. The outer query depends on the inner query value, and if you have an open brace and a closed brace, you write some select statement, and based on the output, your outer query will be evaluated. Make sure that we are discussing about the select statement. So your open brace, closed brace are aligned to your select statements. Now where you can apply this subquery, you can apply in select class, you can apply in from class, and you apply in a where class. Let's get into your demo straight away. I'm going back to the SQL Server Management Studio. So let's create a database by using create database subquery example. Let me execute it. I'm going to create two tables as we discussed in the PPT. So we're going to create a student table and the marks table. Let me do that. Now I'm going to insert 4 rows here. which is Arun, Ravi, Priya, Ramya. I am going to insert another 4 rows for the marks table 50, 60, 70, 80. Now we select the marks for the ID2. So who is ID2? Ravi. So what is the mark he got it? He got around 60 marks. Now we want to retrieve the students who got more than Ravi's marks. So let's write this query. So select staff from the student. So before doing this, you have to join these two tables. So students and marks table and retrieving all the values from both the tables. And the joining condition is the ID column in a.id equal to b.id, where b.marks. So the marks table, in the marks table, I want to see the greater value from the ID2. So what does it mean is, so ID2 is Ravi. So select marks from ID equal to where ID equal to 2, retrieve 60. So it will be replaced. This inner query will be replaced with value 60. So what will be happening is select star from student A inner join marks B on a.id equal to b.id, where b.marks greater than. This got executed and replaced with 60. So let's execute it and see what happens. So we got 2 rows where the mark is more than 60 and the name is Priya and Ramya. In this lecture, we have seen how to use subqueries in the select statement and also from the where conditions. In the next lecture, we are going to see how to use in update, insert, delete scenarios, and also we'll discuss about correlated subquery.